Considering I had already completed all of my adventures in the Mojave, I figured I should go ahead and take my NCR Ranger away from the Mojave Desert for a while and give him a much needed vacation. Of course, the one stop that I think fits him best is seeing if we can beat Lonesome Road as an NCR Ranger. Considering where we last left off, I don't really need supplies or anything, as I already had most of the ammo and healing items that I would require to start the DLC, so I just headed back to Prim, shot a couple people along the way, and went directly to the canyon wreckage to start the DLC. Of course, I had to shoot a couple puppies in the head on the way there, just to let everyone know that there was an NCR Ranger in the territory and I would not accept any hostilities. Not sure how I missed this one coyote twice, but we're not going to talk about it. I am the pinnacle of accuracy, goddammit. Anyways, I made it into the Hopeville silo, went to go rescue the Lonesome Road version of Eddie, as he would be super helpful to me throughout the entirety of the DLC, and he is best boy. I of course went ahead and bought some riot gear from the commissary because I figured my NCR Ranger deserved a little bit of an upgrade after all the shit that I put him through in the last run. This run isn't exactly meant to be very difficult, even though I'm about 10 levels below the recommended starting level for Lonesome Road. I'm pretty much being carried by the fact that I have the Medicine Stick and the Ranger Sequoia, which are just two absolutely amazing weapons. The Securitrons are pretty scary here. I'm not sure entirely why I had to, of course, get my legs blown off constantly. I've never really went into Lonesome Road before and just had them constantly decide to use nothing but missile launchers against me. Like, I swear, every sentry bot that I dealt with just shot me with the missile launcher first, and then reloaded, didn't shoot me with the Gatling laser, and then just shot me with the missile launcher again. The game, of course, crashed because such is New Vegas. I don't know why Lonesome Road just kind of has issues for me. It just decides to crash randomly, which meant that, of course, I get to do the entire Hopeville silo section again. I went right back to grabbing everything that I could off the ground to sell so that I could afford the full riot gear. I went and rescued Eddie, shot into the wall because I was kind of annoyed with the game for crashing on me, and then I just proceeded through the bunker as I did normally. Now, of course, this meant that I was right back to dealing with my favorite thing in the game, which is, of course, the sentry bots and their missile launchers. I wasn't really happy that the game decided to crash this early on me, because normally I go an entire New Vegas run without the game crashing, but Lonesome Road just seems to give me issues. I'm pretty sure last time I played through Lonesome Road it was constantly crashing as well, so I'm not entirely sure why, but I'll probably just stick to a different DLC next time, considering Lonesome Road is kind of boring as well. Honestly, this DLC is mostly dialogue, and once you play through it a couple times, you don't really want to experience that dialogue again. You're just kind of over it, and it's a lot of just kind of spam clicking through dialogue. But it alternatively is also a very good DLC if you really enjoy just pure combat. There's a lot of enemies, it's pretty much just dialogue and then non-stop killing in the, time between dialogue. I just kind of pretend that none of the dialogue exists, spam click through it, and then go about my way killing everything so that I can get XP and shit to sell. I debated for a few minutes on using Red Glare because I figured an NCR Ranger would find it absolutely patriotic to use that weapon, especially for the NCR, but I figured it might go against the rules of the run since, the regular NCR Ranger video had me just using the Ranger Sequoia and the Medicine Stick. I decided against it for this time. I may come back to that in the future in a different DLC run, who knows, and decided that I was going to flashbang myself as soon as I blew up the nuke using the laser detonator. Not only once, but of course, I flashbanged myself twice. I don't know why the goddamn explosion effect for these things is so bright. It's honestly just seizure-inducing. I'm not sure why we can't just tone that down, but I'm just going to pretend that it doesn't exist and move on, just like I do with every issue that I face in life. Anyways, up next was of course trying to fight the tunnelers, which is pretty easy. It's just hollow point rounds and guns that do an absurd amount of damage, so most of them went down in 2 to 3 shots, although they did hit pretty hard if they actually managed to get close enough to me to do damage, and of course them swarming you in numbers is actually quite scary considering they can just kind of delete your health bar very easily, especially considering I'm kind of underleveled for this DLC. After that, it was time for the overpass, which was just a few more named marked men that I had to kill, and get the shoulder-mounted machine gun, which is one of the coolest weapons in the game. I then blew my legs off trying to go up and get the elite riot gear for my ranger, as he deserved another upgrade. Honestly, I don't know why I bought the regular riot gear when that stuff exists, but the game decided to crash on me yet again, which meant that I was back to the bridge to deal with the death claws. This time, however, I just kind of abused hollow points and sneaking so that I could kill them in one shot. It honestly just surprises me every time I use the Ranger Sequoia or the Medicine Stick how good these guns are. But of course, nothing can stop me from my arch enemy, and that is satchel charges. These things were blowing up faster than I could disarm them, and I blew myself up way more times than I care to count here. It was honestly quite ridiculous, the fact that I literally couldn't go 2 steps without almost killing myself. But of course, next up was some more named marked men that were pretty easy to kill. He tried to boot me with a chainsaw, so I of course murdered him and all of his friends. My accuracy is again the pinnacle of accuracy. I of course launched a nuke right after, because honestly, what's more patriotic than launching a nuclear warhead? I think nothing. Although I still stand by the statement that I've made in previous videos that I have no idea how that nuclear bomb doesn't kill us. Of course, next up is my least favorite section of the entire DLC, and probably my least favorite section of New Vegas in general. The seizure simulator elevator that just gives my character fucking Parkinson's and seizures at the same time, and it's absolutely not fun to play whatsoever. I need to figure out if there's a mod or something that disables the screen shake for this area, because my god is it terrible. I miss shots on the tunnelers in here a lot just because I'm too busy shaking and having an epileptic attack to actually fight in there, but you know, I'm just kind of getting PTSD thinking about that section again. After that, I dealt with some more sentry bots and a couple more tunnelers on my way into dealing with the rest of the marked men that I needed to take out before I made it to Ulysses' temple. I did want to get sidetracked a little bit here and go deal with a couple side things while I was in Lonesome Road. I wasn't going to be going back to the Mojave or anything to do any side quests, even though I could have potentially done that for the run. I just decided against it because it didn't really fit the video since this is about Lonesome Road. So after I took out the majority of the marked men and made it to the next section, I figured I would take a little bit of a break and go try to take on Rar. Now, normally he is one of the strongest enemies in the game. He has a lot of health, he has a lot of damage, and he's kind of fast, you know? He's just pretty terrifying. But I figured with all of the other Deathclaws that I had bullied throughout this run, that I could take him on. Yeah, I was wrong. I kind of underestimated just how fast he was, and it was honestly terrifying seeing this thing just full sprint at you and delete 90% of your health immediately. I died to him more times than I care to admit, which was mostly my fault since I wasn't aiming properly, but after a good decent amount of tries, I finally got a little bit of a lucky run where he kind of got stuck at the beginning, and I got a couple lucky crits, and he went down pretty easily. I decided against making his Deathclaw Gauntlet just because I don't really feel like the NCR would approve of that. I think it probably would be considered somewhat barbaric by the rest of the NCR, so we're not going to be bullying people with the Deathclaw Gauntlet this run, sadly. However, that may come up in a future run, although I don't know how I would kill Rar without actually killing anything, so I'll have to think on that one. Anyways, I made it to Ulysses' temple, and I could have just shot him in the head here, considering, you know, he'd probably be considered a war criminal by the NCR with what he's trying to do. But, you know, I tried to talk him down and see if I could resolve things peacefully, which of course is not really in my nature, so I just started blasting and he died pretty much before he even had a chance to do anything. The rest of the marked men in here were nothing special. They just kind of went down pretty easy. Honestly, this is probably the easiest I've ever dealt with the marked men in this last little segment, except for maybe an explosive run where I had Ulysses help me. But other than that, I mean, everybody just kind of died in here. I was pretty much spawn killing them. It felt like a Black Ops 2 lobby in 2012 or something on Nuketown. Anyways, I redirected the missiles to the Legion because, of course, that's what the NCR would have me do. And that was it. I had finished Lonesome Road as an NCR Ranger. This was pretty short as a run. It honestly wasn't all that challenging because the weapons were just fantastic, but I figured it was kind of fitting for me to do, especially with the other NCR Ranger videos blowing up lately. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. I do have quite a few projects in the work at the moment, but I always love to add new ideas that I find interesting to my list of stuff that I can potentially torture myself with later. But of course, I want to thank each and every one of you for the support. The last couple weeks has been pretty crazy for the channel. We've been growing at a really insane rate. I've gotten almost 200 new subs in the last week or two, and gotten a lot of old videos that are just getting some crazy views. So I want to thank all you guys for showing support to the channel and helping me, you know, do content and bring entertainment to you guys. It's what I enjoy, and I hope you all enjoy what I'm trying to do here. As always, though, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.